back at you with the Last Dance documentary,
episode 2
reaction. Let's get it. You guys probably already seen the last reaction, so you guys already know who it is. Mikey, D, Mickey, myself. You guys know why we're watching this show already from the last reaction?
Because Michael Jordan's the greatest of all time.
Yes.
as you would say.
Before I pop off, is there anything you guys want to say before I play?
Now I'm ready to dive in. I want to see some more.
I'm excited. It's gonna be like reliving that last season. It was epic.
This is a good time when there's like not a lot of sports going on, so something fresh.
Yeah,
so I know a lot of you guys in quarantine are probably struggling like we are.
Yeah.
So this was a good timing for this documentary. It was supposed to come out in the summer, in July or something, but
It was.
they were forced it to come out early.
It's probably a good.
It's a good thing too.
They started promoting that documentary this time last year during the Super Bowl.
I didn't even notice. I didn't even notice that either.
I remember it
it's
came
gotten
out.
a lot of like love for sure, but
I remember it came out and saw the video. It was like 2020.
well, and the other thing was like everyone was talking about is like this is like one of the last interviews Kobe's done. Was on
shit.
this.
I told you that. I literally said earlier. That's like this is
the last one of the interviews. One of them because he has like they told everyone else that Kobe did his own documentary of his last season in the NBA in general.
Oh wow!
So that will eventually come out. But
I can't wait for that one. But,
same people making it.
There's just one thing I wanted to share. I didn't get a chance to share. The last episode was this docu-series is not a documentary, 10 episode, whatever you want to call this. It was actually done really well. They in the first 4 weeks it had 23.4 million viewership.
Oh, wow.
And that was just international because that was from Netflix, and Netflix released it internationally only. And then in the States, it beat out Tiger King, which was summer sensation or quarantine sensation, if you want to call it.
I'm guilty.
legendary.
I watched it. It was definitely good.
Man.
Definitely good stuff.
So yeah, it beat out Tiger King's numbers, and we all know how legendary that was. So this documentary, even though it's a sports documentary, it definitely has its legs as a documentary, and it's done really well from storytelling and the cinematography as well.
For sure.
So
I mean, if you're passionate about something, this will like definitely inspire you for whatever else you're doing. If it's not sports, you know
that's
what I mean?
dope.
You know what I'm saying? Like you just see the passion that somebody has. It's like, all right, if I show this passion, maybe I get the same results.
And that's something that I try to stress about Mike as well. It's like, don't forget that like
he inspires so many players.
If you think he's a dick, if you think he's mean, or whatever you may feel about him,
there's sacrifices.
Mike was the best at his job.
You have to make some sacrifices.
That's it. You know what I'm saying? Like, and then like there's no way that. To me, when I watch this, you literally see why some of your favorite athletes didn't do it. Like, it was certain things they weren't willing to sacrifice, certain ways they weren't willing to push their teammates. They were willing to accept some of the excuses or blame. Well, my organization was this. So Mike showed up with a bad GM and a bad team, and within year 7, by year 7, it was over with. Once he found out how to win, Mike didn't lose. The Orlando series against the Magic that happened in '94 was the only time Mike lost a playoff series after he won his first ring. He only lost one playoff series after that. So, I mean, to me, how I look at like guys like Kobe and watch how Kobe had to win those rings, and I watch these younger guys try to like get to where Mike got to. It's just, I feel like, some of the newer guys use excuses where Mike didn't. Mike put his head down and
Mike would make some sacrifices for sure to get whatever he wanted to be. And like you said, like not everybody would start off like Michael is obviously great, but he wasn't always great. He worked hard to get to where he was. He had to go through certain like losses and stuff like that. He didn't always win. They show that too, and that he's human. Like obviously he is God, but like to us, like he is a sports god, but he wasn't overnight. He had to do some things to get to where he's at.
For sure,
Which is like anybody can relate to that.
Let's get into it, man, because we can actually talk about this shit for hours.
You guys know this kind of market substitute. Watch this at your own time. You can watch it on Netflix on July 19th, or watch it on ESPN Plus, or is it ESPN Plus, or what is it called?
ESPN Plus.
ESPN Plus. Or ABC.
Hulu Live TV.
Or Hulu Live TV. That's how we're watching it right now. If you guys like, support us on Patreon. You guys can support us so we can do that. Cooking shows, podcasts, and more content like this. And if you like this content, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and check us out in the comments. And let us know what you guys think about this reaction so far in the comments as well. Let's get it, y'all.
Thank you.
I would love the opportunity of finishing my career out in Chicago, but if it don't happen, then I'll just have to look elsewhere.
He went to the Spurs.
He went to the Rockets eventually and Portland. Played Kobe in the conference finals.
Who am I thinking that went to the?
My day will come.
I'm thinking somebody else.
My day will come.
Yeah, right, your day will come, bro.
Scotty made more than Mike did off money in the NBA. But in the end, he wound up making more than Mike did.
Jerry Krause made everything real murky when he said, "This is Phil's last year." After the season, we're basically relieved of our duties.
That's crazy.
Like, people want to defend Jerry Krause, but it's like, yo, this is what he did, B. Like,
I want to hear Jerry Krause's standpoint,
he
too.
rolled up to the greatest team of all
You'll
time.
see why though. Like you'll start seeing why. Like you won't blame 100% Jerry. Like some managers, they lose control of the locker room. Like they don't have any say or anything. Like you're actually
You know how you
you're
lose
supposed to
control?
be
You know how
the
you lose
boss.
control of a locker room?
Yeah.
When it's when it ain't broke, like
Don't fix it.
it. Like what the fuck? We winning. They've been winning this way for a while. The Joy still got his hoop
Look at
here
this.
again.
This is crazy stat.
That's fucked up.
Booyah.
120 seconds.
That's fucked. Yeah, that's
Underrated, underappreciated.
Pippen was that dude, man.
Oh, for sure.
They were just a perfect 1-2 combo, but you know he got overshadowed ultimately.
He helped me so much in the way that I approach the game, the way I play the game. Whenever they speak Michael Jordan, they should speak Scottie Pippen.
One of the quotes of the series. One of the best quotes of the series.
But I didn't win without Scottie Pippen.
Thank you.
And, you know, that's why I consider him my best
Everybody in
teammate
the
of all
world thinks
time.
he did it without him. Like, no.
No, yeah, no, hell no.
He
They-
need help.
they- yeah,
He need
they were the perfect 1-2
Nobody
combo,
wants
man.
to-
They were like it's peanut butter and jelly.
It's my biggest like problem with that whole argument. Who was the greatest and who had players? Like, come on,
My
man.
mom and my dad were very strong people. They were about survival. Obviously, that's what they were about if they had 12 kids.
12.
I be stroking.
Everybody was close knit. Everybody shared everything, you know. It was just a good time. We didn't even know we were poor.
That boy looked just like Scotty.
My dad just gotten home, and as he was eating his dinner, he just kind of fell back, and he suffered a stroke 6 years before that. My second oldest brother was in junior high school. He paralyzed him. So
Damn.
So you grew up with two people in my house in a wheelchair. Dr. J was my childhood hero. I always wanted to play like him and dunk the basketball like him.
He always knew he was going to make it to the NBA.
And you believe him?
Not really.
I was getting better at such a rapid pace. And then my freshman to my sophomore year, I grew 5 inches.
Damn. That's $100 million leap right there. Like $200 million leap. Like,
That's crazy.
Jesus.
I wish I could go to
Exactly.
I'm like, what the fuck?
During your
One
athletic
summer.
prime in one summer.
Like, what the hell?
And that was during college years, bro.
What are your techniques?
That was from 17 to 18, I
fucking
think, or
short as
18
fuck
to
over here.
19.
Still young, yeah.
I was pretty confident in who I was as a player, but as a rookie, you get treated like a rookie, and Charles was a bully, so he beat me up.
I'm a rookie here. We gotta deal with bad back to the He get treatment like this. Yeah, okay.
Oh! Hell no, motherfucker. Hell no.
I was waiting for that to happen.
Hell no.
You got humbled real quick.
Real quick.
Scottie Pippen signed a deal in 1991, 7 years for $18 million. And
I felt like I couldn't afford to gamble myself, getting injured and not being able to provide.
The league took off. Revenues went way, way up. Salaries went up.
Jerry Reinsdorf was emphatic about it.
That's the face he made. He found out Mike was making $36 million this year. Like, what?
When we got to 97 and 98, and that was the last year of Scotty's contract, I know he was very frustrated. His frustration bubbled over.
Scottie Pippen of the Bulls will be out for 2 to 3 months. Pippen underwent surgery Monday on a sore foot in New York.
This is my favorite part.
I had a ruptured tendon in my ankle, and I decided to have surgery late because I was like, you know what? I'm not gonna f my summer up
Hey, fuck it. They ain't paid.
He could have gotten his surgery done as soon as the season was over and be ready for the season. What Scotty was trying to do was trying to force management to change his contract. And Jerry wasn't going to do that.
Because he didn't have to.
Yeah.
If you sign a contract,
7 years,
you
bro.
sign a contract. We're adults.
Yeah.
Like, come on. And I love Scotty, but bro.
He shouldn't have signed that deal.
He shouldn't have it in the first place.
If you guys got like Jordan, where like LeBron, they looked out for other players on their teams to get contracts. Like Jordan, you know this shit deal. Tell him it's a shit deal.
Yeah, right?
Well,
You're the one who's been getting contracts for the last fucking 7 years.
yeah.
Which I didn't think was Jerry said they approached Michael with the same deal. Mike was like, no, he said Mike didn't sign it. He said, I told Mike and Scotty, Mike didn't sign it, Scotty did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's where it's like Mike should have came in and said, yo, Scotty, don't sign this shit.
Scotty didn't have Nike. Mike was getting paid
He
more
needed
by
money.
Nike
He
already.
needed money now.
Yeah.
That was the thing.
Saw his situation. They showed his family situation first.
He needed money. Yeah.
And when you're a really good team, one loss feels like 5. You know, you're expected to win. You're supposed to win. And so early in that season, we were losing games, and it felt like trouble.
Randy Brown out there shooting shots. That ain't good. Like,
I let my anger motivate players by saying, hey, I want this. Do you guys want it?
He's not worried about hurting your feelings. If you hurt your feelings, you could leave. He would gladly tell you, get out. We don't need you here. You don't want to play hard, get out.
That's what you can do when you're on a team, bro. When you're the best player team, you can do that type of shit.
We used to compete an awful lot in the backyard. My brothers hated losing, not on the same level like me. Because if you beat me back then, we had to fight. You know, that's just the way it was.
it's funny, but look at what he was raised around. Like, this is legit serious. Like, for real. Like,
When you come to blows with someone you absolutely love, that's igniting every fire within you. And I always felt like I was fighting Larry for my father's attention.
I wanted to do it yourself as run the house. So I could take Larry out, and he was fascinated by fixing things with his hand, took a lot of pride in it. And Michael would be out, you'd say, give me a Phillips screwdriver, he might give you a pair of pliers, you know.
He did not make the varsity team as a sophomore.
When I got home and I told my mother I was cut, I was demoralized. I didn't want to play any more sports.
You want to bring out the best in Michael, tell him he can't do something. He takes it as a personal challenge to go out and do it just to prove you wrong.
He was about 5'10" or 5'11". He came back about 6'3" that fall.
What the hell, man? Just playing basketball doesn't make you taller?
that $1 million, $100 million, $200 million for Michael Jordan.
Damn.
$1 billion growth. Like,
I wish I had that kind of growth for bro.
Man.
$1 billion growth. Jesus.
It was the third game of the season. It was my second season. We're playing Golden State. I go up for a lob. And when I landed flat-footed. When it did the Cats game, it was a clear break.
Damn.
And I was done.
He still look hurt about it. You see his face? That's another one he lost too. It's the 3 years that he missed, like that one, and then the 1.5.
Michael asked him, well, if I play, what percentage is there that I'm going to get hurt again? The doctor said, yeah, 10%. And then I chimed in to the doctors, what happens if the 10% kicks? And they said, well, then his career would be over.
Wow, everybody's just thinking about the negative. Well, I think the glass is half full. Everybody thinks it's half empty.
If you had a terrible headache and I gave you a bottle of pills and 9 of the pills would cure you and 1 of the pills would kill you, would you take a pill?
And I look at him and I said, depends on how bad the headache is.
Because we weren't going to win a championship anyway. Why even take a 10% risk that your career is going to be over? Well, he didn't see it that way.
Maybe it's not me playing as opposed to us trying to lose games so we can move, into the lottery.
We reached a compromise and we allowed him to come back and play. I think it was 7 minutes each half.
So let me go back and play, and then, they put a time restriction on me.
Jordan with 10 points in limited playing time. They had him on 7 men per half with a stopwatch. He could be almost in mid-shot. It's like, tweet. All right, Jordan, you're out.
Michael Jordan sat down.
Look like Westbrook, man. Young Jordan just remind me of Westbrook. The attitude, the game.
So now we start winning, and we start getting into the playoff picture. We get to a pivotal game, go and play Indiana.
Yeah.
Right before Reggie gets drafted.
Is it RCA Dome?
Yeah, Marcus Square Arena.
For 14 minutes, I just go absolutely ballistic. We were in a position to win.
20-footer, good.
This helped him too. Him being limited, the 7-minute stretch, him coming in and learning how to save the game, it was huge.
I don't know if Jerry came down from the stands to say, hey, get him out of the game, and there's like 30 seconds left.
I'm just like, I'm angry.
Michael saw it for what it was. You play the game to win. So I don't want to hear about your draft pick.
This is where the refs started with Jerry.
How good that would be.
Huh?
This is where the Jerry relationship started getting bad.
Yeah.
It's our ball. It's 13 seconds left. Lo and behold, John Paxson hits a game-winning shot.
The Pacers just like struck, man. Like,
they were gonna make the playoffs.
Yeah.
It was one of the teams, I think.
Yeah.
One of these two teams.
So,
but I think they got Reggie Miller after this draft.
Probably. You would have never gotten Reggie Miller if Michael Jordan, if John Paxson was in the game when
I gotta see. I think it was 87. Yeah.
The mistrust Michael had with management, specifically with Jerry Krause, was he believed that they violated the most fundamental aspect of sport. From that moment on, Michael's relationship with the ownership and management was deeply sour.
Could you imagine?
But real quick, I felt like that was huge for Mike in his second year, already knowing he was the best player on the team. They limited his minutes. And we were losing that season, and he came back with his limited time and fought us back to the playoffs. Like first year he found out he was the dude. The second year he learned how to be like that, like the superhero.
No one could limit the power and the glory of Michael Jordan. The Bulls made a late season rush into a playoff berth, which ironically cost them a chance at one of the first 7 choices in next year's draft.
That's you're just talking about. The Pacers got that they were in there. They made
That's where they got Reggie Miller.
Yeah.
What is their reward? Well, they get to play the almighty Boston Celtics with 4 guys who make the Hall of Fame.
All of them are about 7 foot tall that can score, run.
Huge. The Celtics were so tall back in the day, bro.
Kind of like the Sixers now, but they're not the shooters. The size.
They took all the limitations off, and it was like unleashing a wild dog.
This was the same year he got that injury. He broke his foot, came back and dropped this. Did this the same year.
Do what we can do to hold Michael down, but you don't hold the great ones down.
Get some! Get some!
Nobody was doing this stuff besides him.
I wish the term "in my bag" was out back in the day. Look at Rick Carlisle. It's like 3 or 4 coaches on that team too, on the Celtics team.
Coaches, the GMs, presidents.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone expected going into the next game what was going to happen.
I played practically every minute in the second game. I just never stopped. I just took advantage of my youth and my energy.
Because his limit restriction came off at the beginning of the playoffs. He spent all his time rearing the play, and they unleashed him against the Celtics. Like, just go ahead. Can't mess up the draft pick anymore. Like,
I remember laughing in the middle of the game because Walton was cursing me out because he had to guard Jordan on a few occasions. Walton fouled out.
Jordan has shot 18 free throws and made 16.
Oh, man. Oh, man.
48 for Michael Jordan.
Moggs dunking on you for .48? Like, Jesus, like, you ain't tired, bro? Like,
you just golfed 18, too.
I know. That's like just that by itself is no joke.
They still lost.
Yes.
Still lost.
Spoiler alert. If you're not a sports fan, we're not spoiling anything for you. You know what happened. You also know this is a freaking NBA record that still stands to this day. Like,
Single game playoff record. Got it. 63 for Jordan. A new NBA.
that's why they're not even talking. They just let it roll. Just let the clip roll. He went nuts, bro.
Fortunately for us, we had the last shot.
Man. That was one of the greatest teams of all time. That Celtics team was like legit. They were really good. They were at the end of the road, but like they were still.
They three-peated.
Huh?
Didn't they three-peat?
No. Boston never did. Boston nor the Lakers did that.
I thought they three-peated.
That's what made Mike different, because Mike won 3 in a row. Larry and Magic both did 2. Nobody did 3. Even Isaiah did 2.
That wasn't Michael Jordan out there. It was God disguised as Michael Jordan.
That quote, he used it that day. It like lived on forever.
Oh, God, this guy's Michael Jordan.
Michael Jordan, he's a God in gym shoes or something like that.
Larry Bird, not Larry. Reggie calls him Black Jesus.
Black Jesus.
Well, this kid, he asked me could I get Michael Jordan's autograph for him? I said, yeah, I can do it for $5.
Kyle was a ball boy?
He said, yeah. Okay. And I said, hey, Mike, you think you could sign his autograph for me? He was like, oh, man, you got it. Just kind of joking around. You sign it. So I signed it and took it up to the kid. He looked and he saw that Michael was spelled wrong. I spelled Michael wrong. So I had to get the $5 back.
I was so shitty.
Jordan is the most talented player in the NBA by far.
Guys like to say that it's Magic Johnson.
Right? Magic Johnson. He changed position.
It's nuts. Changed the game.
We realized that Michael Jordan was the greatest ball player in the NBA. So a year later, we basically rebuilt the entire team. Krause went to work.
Real quick, this is year 2. By year 2, everybody knew he was like
Horace Grant and Scottie Pippen, 87.
That's stupid.
After 87 team.
We'll always give Jerry Krause credit for assembling a roster that fit. I'm sure one of the hardest trades he ever had to make was trading Charles Oakley to New York for Bill Cartwright. We needed a big man. So Bill was a great fit. Michael was very fond of Charles because Charles was his protector. When Krause pulled the trigger on that trade, that was probably one of the defining things in his career.
Charles Oakley and I were good friends, but things were in place for us to win, when he left.
He said like that he was pissed when they traded her. He acted like he was cool with it. No, you weren't. It just worked, and you can't say nothing about it.
He won rings off of that deal.
Awkward.
Scotty had problems with Jerry, and it came out on several occasions.
Anybody can be traded, and part of my responsibility is to listen to other teams when they talk to me about our players. And we think Scottie Pippen is certainly, one of the top couple of players in basketball, and feel very strongly about it. And I can't tell you what's going to happen in the future because I don't know.
It's disrespectful. It's disrespectful. I'm sorry. Like, we talking after the 5th championship. Is what you saying? Like.
It was basically
we had a number of offers we thought were good offers for Scotty and for some of our other players.
It really is what sort of tarnished my relationship with Jerry. He tried to make me feel so special, but yet he was still like willing to trade and do all that stuff, but never would tell me to my face.
Just walk in a good game, Scotty.
For a while, we realized I sort of took the attitude of disrespecting him to some degree.
There was always sparks going back and forth. But at a certain point, Scotty crossed the line.
Pippen started abusing Krause openly, cursing him out on the bus. You don't appreciate me. You're trying to trade me. You won't pay me. Well, screw you. I'm taking care of myself now.
I was at that point where I felt like I needed to do what was best for me. I felt like it was time for me to go shopping.
He said he's never going to play for the Bulls ever again. I'm never going to wear this uniform
He hates
ever
this,
again.
but you did this shit, bro. Like, he did this. He, tried to sabotage the last year.
Who, Krause or him?
Both. Combination of both.
Both. Because he should have signed a 7-year contract. That's on him.
Yeah.
He put himself in that situation.
Yep.
That's what I said. Imagine if Tracy was there. That deal actually went through.
I can't because he didn't have it.
It got accepted. Like they even said it.
I'm gonna say it for discussion, but like
right.
I don't think as much as Cross he's getting, I don't think it's warranted.
Exactly.
Really
I don't think it's
reading
warranted.
my script out that this is it.
It's warranted by the people who are saying
So I had to do
I feel
what was
like
best
they
for
earned the
me.
right to say it.
I agree. Like, as players, they should decide when it was their time to leave from their.
Oh damn, it's perfect. Get to it. Let's go. Come on, back. Keep that going.
Yeah,
So
the other thing, like, so here it is. Like, I like to say, Jerry Krause is a businessman. Like, he has to think about a businessman and about his team.
yeah,
And Bulls organization, like running a basketball team is fun and it's great to have, but you also got to look at it as a business. It's making
a
you
business
money.
at the
end of the day.
it's a
It's making you money, and the amount of salary that you're paying, are you going to get your return on your assets? And are you going to get those championships? And Jordan Bean demanding $36 million. He should demand it. He should get that $36 million because at that point he earned it, right? Bring Phil Jackson back on that kind of money. How are you going to be able to bring back everybody back and still pay market value to Scottie Pippen.
Yeah,
and I understand if you already knew that foresight, having that foresight, knowing you cannot ever get to pay the market value for where to ever just for him to finish to ever finish to get to pay the market value, because you see where Scottie Pippen is, you see where his market value is going to go up. Then by this year, I know our team cannot afford him. Right. I have to worry about this guy and this guy. Right. So I need to see where I can get the most out of him. So let's make some trades and get the most out of him. Tracy McGrady was one of those trades. All the other trades that have been going around. I have no issues having a general manager. That's his fucking job, is to make sure my team is always competing, not just now, but years from down the line, to make sure it's competing. So I'm going to change your trade bait. You're an asset. You're the reason for signing a $7 million contract. That's on you. Right. I understand he was under, and I know he's underpaid. Other stats, he's underpaid but he put that on himself. I understand he needed the money. I understand he needed the money because he had a family. I would have done the same thing too. Yeah. But maybe Jerry Krause does deserve some of the blame or some of the criticism, but the way from what I've seen from taking a 7 foot
look at it
point of
view, business rather than as a
fan. Taking from that point of view, and then also looking about all the shit that's getting hated on, is not warranted.
But okay, so like, and that's the point of that's what these debates are about. Yeah. Do I feel it's warranted? Not maybe some of the venture shouldn't be as much, but in reality, for the guys who lived it and went through it, they have every right to voice how they feel about it.
Pippen should feel the way he should be.
I see, like, and that's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. As far as like the people, I'm not mad at we as fans, we love the players.
I'm not mad at Pippen.
Yeah, so I'm talking about us as fans, like the people who supported. We supported Mike and Scotty. That's what we rooted for. We ain't never seen Jerry Krause in a jersey. He ain't never we never seen him out there hurt playing for us. And we watch Mike and Scotty do. So all I'm saying is like. That's wait. That's life. Like in reality, like if you have a hero and your hero has a problem with somebody, you have a problem with the guy that's your hero. So like that's all it came from. And I feel like for him personally, it was warranted. And real quick, Mike didn't hamstring the salary cap. He looked at what they had who was coming back, and Mike took the rest of the money. That's it. Y'all got Scotty making 3-point this, Steve Kerr making this, Rodman, you got Ron Harper. He just like, okay, so that's what y'all paying. I'll take the rest of that. And that was when honestly, that's what began these new salaries. Mike started it. Mike was the first one to get it. Now LeBron does it every year now. LeBron does what Mike just did. They fill out the roster, and LeBron James takes whatever's left. Right. You got 37.6 mil? Oh, I'll take that. Just give it to me. Right. I'll take the rest. Whatever who else you gonna give it to? Like,
I'm not just. Listen, Jerry Krause does deserve some blame. Why the team should play good. Like you all said, if it's not broke, don't fix it. Like whatever. And he has an ego. He has an ego because he was trying to build a team to say, hey,
the biggest thing that was broke and all that was the relationship.
Yeah, in a relationship.
And honestly, if you could have probably just fired Krause and then ran another 2 more years with that Bulls team,
and it would have been fine.
But you still would have been.
You couldn't do that at Krause because Krause built a championship.
That's the thing. You could have tried, but like you still be in the same position. You're still gonna be rebuilding.
Elaborate on it a little bit more. What do you mean? Elaborate on it because
if you looked at it, they talked about it. Krause and Phil were already at terms where like I don't want him back. I don't care if he went 82-0. And Jordan's like I ain't playing without him. Right. Well, if you're the owner and you want to keep Phil and you had to beg Phil to come back and do 1 more year. Right. And you see that the biggest issue here in the common denominator is that everyone on the team does not like this sole person. Yeah. This whole person became toxic, but he also built it.
He did.
So that's where you get the 2 egos. At that time, and I'm like, if I'm the owner, Jerry Reinsdorf, and I saw that, I'm firing Krause.
One of them. Or I'm doing something.
I'm getting rid of Krause and saying, okay, fine. I wanted to keep Phil, which he got GM, not all GM, but he got some, pull when he went to the Lakers. Yeah. So he got some. He just wanted more ownership. Yeah. So if you would have gave him a little bit of that, it would have been fine. To an extent, you would have had a couple more years probably of the Bulls team.
For sure. Yeah. Or you would have had an infrastructure.
But
Tim Floyd never had
if you look, like you were saying, if you're a Krause and if you're any other GM, you're looking, what am I doing after Jordan? Jordan's 34. I got this asset in Pippen who's saying trade me, and I can get almost anything in the NBA for him. All right. I'm going to trade him and try to extend my own career as a GM for another 10 more years. For sure. Preparing for life after Jordan. I know that Jordan and Pippen, Jordan and Phil are gone.
And both of you guys are really big business guys, but you got to understand this. And look at the comment that Michael Jordan made immediately about the rebuilding, how long the Cubs.
Well, nobody wants to rebuild.
But listen though,
that's why you trade.
You win that many championships, bro. However whoever the people that's part of it decide that it should end, it ends. Wanna know why? Because it hasn't happened since, and it probably will never happen.
That's
again.
why I said you fire Krause.
Team ever. And you know what? I can't even say that because I feel like Jerry.
You have to choose at that point. That's where the ownership comes in.
I think Jerry did a really good job in the midst of all of the noise of keeping it together. He kept everybody. He kept it together as long as he could.
If anyone he handled it best because he was getting abused by not only like players but the coaches. So he just bit his tongue.
He got abused by everybody, by his own city,
media,
by media, and like his star players, his coach. He got abused by everybody.
Phil can feel however he wants to feel, but Phil he brought Phil Jackson in the same way he brought in Tim Floyd. When Doug Collins was our coach, Phil Jackson was on the bench. Wait. He was on the bench. After he was on the bench, he moved him in. He did the same shit to Phil Jackson. That's why at the end of it, I feel like Phil Jackson humbly accepted that walkout because he got brought in the same way. And mind you, bro, there'd be no Phil Jackson.
I think it would be different. When they see you guys the next episode on like Phil and the relationship, I think you guys. I don't know if they would agree with that because like Phil himself, like, not saying like he's an egotist, but like he has an ego, but it's not like it's different. Like you'll see, like he wouldn't have want to walk away just away from that. Like he was just so burnt out from the back and forth with Krause. Like he didn't. He's like that person that he wants always positive energy around him.
Yeah.
Didn't dig that vibe from him after that. He was even if that was what I'm saying. It would have had to been Phil or Krause. I
want to hear your biggest takeaway from this episode, so we can follow it.
My biggest takeaway from this episode was just first I agree with all you about how Jerry Krause should be vilified, and not really agree, but I was on your guys' side. From this, I was like, just. I'm reading from Scottie Pippen's side and their biased point of view. I'm like, I don't agree with it. Like I totally think it's okay if I'm a GM and like Scottie Pippen should be hurt. I'm not saying he should not be feeling, and he should totally be feeling. He should have done what he said. But bro, you signed a contract. Like and the owner even told you not to sign it. The owner even told you not to sign it. Yeah. So that's on you.
And how about this?
Then on top of that,
the best player on the team didn't sign it with you. Like
and then you dish out on your team. You're like, fuck this. You know, they didn't take care of me, so I'm not gonna take care of my team. The team did not do that to you. No. It was the owner. Be there for your fucking team.
Yeah. And that was my problem with Scotty.
Oh, I agree. It was a problem with Scotty, but that's what I'm saying. If you're the GM, okay, I have a problem. I need to do something with that problem. I found a good trade, but the best player of the team calls his buddy, the owner, is like, hey, I need Scotty here.
Yeah, I don't trade the second best player in the league away.
Yeah, second best player. But if you look at it, he was getting I know it was Tracy.
On a cheap deal, too.
It was a Tracy on a rookie deal, okay? Yeah. And there was also multiple other players. Like, I think Damian Stoudemire was a part of that deal. There was a couple other players that were part of that deal where you're looking at, you're like, if Jordan had that ego where I want to win, go to the Wars, and like repeat with the same roster I had, and he would look at it with like a young Tracy, be like, I could play another 5 to 10 more years with this team, and Phil can coach this
That's
kid.
speculative though. I'm not trading the second best player in the league for a kid that might work.
Yeah,
what was your biggest takeaway from this? That's
true. A kid that might work.
Yeah, that's true. Biggest takeaway, I don't know if it was a takeaway, but I really enjoyed just learning more about Pippen and his kind of history and backstory.
I agree.
And I had, because, you know, I mean, like, when you're back during this time, during that last season, I mean, after Jordan, Pippen was that dude. And so I really enjoyed watching them together because they were definitely a 1-2 combo, and I like how Jordan said, I mean, I didn't win it without Pippen. So that was cool that he actually did acknowledge that. And, yeah, I didn't know anything about the foot injury or how he chose to deal with it or, like, the salary stuff. So it's really interesting learning the background of all this.
Yeah.
What about you, D?
I agree. I just didn't know a lot about Pippen's personal life, to be honest, because that seems to be like kind of closed off. I didn't know about his brother or his father, and that he even had 12 sisters or brothers.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like,
that's deep. That's
obviously, like he's from the South, and a lot of families are like that. It happens a lot.
It's a lot down south.
But
it's tragic.
I mean, even then, like Jordan's family, I forget if you see the pictures. He has sisters. He had an older brother too that was in the military and stuff. Like they talked to him, but they didn't talk to everybody in the family.
Yeah, but Pippen's story is tragic though, because I mean, it's because you saw the size of his family and then his father and brother.
You also saw why he signed that contract.
Oh, I agree.
Yeah, you saw why he signed it.
I understood it. I understand why you signed it. I understand it.
You need it.
I understand you do need it, but then you just can't be mad about it.
Because you can't. Thank you, Patrick.
But I'm not mad at him for holding it out too. If you look at today's now I want to say NBA, but like NFL players, they're at that point now in their careers are like, okay, I balled out for 2 years and I'm on this low end contract. You just signed a new TV deal. franchises got an extra $25 million to spend on salary.
Yeah.
At least give me $5 to $10 million.
Right.
Yeah,
You can't, but we living in the capitalist country. Like you can't count people to give you money just because you did a good job. Right?
Yeah, no, right. That's where they do the holdouts. And so
The
Pippen was one of the
contract
few that like who didn't publicly do a holdout. He just said, "Well, I'm not gonna." He did, but he's like, "I'm gonna do my surgery during the season. I ain't gonna fuck up my summer." I don't blame you.
My biggest, I mean, like Pippen isn't dumb. Like I mean, like I'm sure when he was told like don't sign it, I'm sure he was like, "Man, I know I shouldn't, but like I can't."
He was probably in over $1 million debt. Like that's what I'm saying. He's looking at it like I'm already like in debt and I have to pay.
Pippen's never been accused of being the smartest person though. So I'm no disrespect to him. Like he like stuff like that.
But that's where I was having that conversation with you like off the side. I was like, man, like
yeah, we did.
Where I was like, I wish like Jordan took that aspect to be like, hey, no, this is a like you're my friend too, not just a teammate. Don't do this.
Yeah.
Like sign a 2-year deal and you're gonna get more. I promise you that. Like trust me. Like Bron did with J.R. Smith. J.R. Smith did not earn that contract. Like there's some Tristan Thompson did not earn those contracts, but they got max money because LeBron said, "I need you to pay my guys," and like they were dumb contracts. Like, if I'm the GM, then I would have been like, "Yeah, sorry, Bron. I know you love him, but I'm not gonna pay them for that."
But real quick, my biggest takeaway from this, and I can't like it was huge for me. I actually brought it up to you during the time we were watching it. Was his parents, man. People really don't understand how LeBron James didn't have a dad and he didn't go to college. And I'm not trying to make no comparison, but like you watch Mike stand up there in North Carolina after the winning national championship and say, "Oh, I'm gonna win 2 or 3 more." Did that look familiar? You know what I'm saying? Like when he first got into the league, you see some of the struggles he went through. They're like some of these guys skip. Basically, you see the building of the greatest. Like he had a mom and dad that were hardworking. He had siblings that were competitive with him. It's like, you know, in so many words, I'm saying he was fortunate to have that type of situation. You literally saw the foundation of the greatest right there. His dad, like fighting for attention from his dad. Having a hard-working, blue-collar family is what made that country boy dominant.
If you really want it, you gotta work hard at it. That's how good his work ethic, right there. That was his work ethic. That's how you do it.
And like to me, it was the biggest takeaway I took from this episode was like the relationship that he had and continued with his parents. Yeah, even say when he got hurt year 2, you heard him say, "My parents were there spending a lot of time with me," and it's like that type of stuff is important because he got through that adversity to become the guy that we see. He wasn't MJ until after that. So like, I mean,
it also showed like having parents, like having good parents like that. Support. And you could overcome
good values.
Shit. You could just overcome shit like him not making this like school team. Like think about it like this: if he didn't have a father, and it was just his mom and his own, and she's like got done working 2 jobs and come home and her son comes and say, I didn't make the team crying. You think mom would take the time to listen to the son and tell him, hey, no, you're going to do this? No, just something like, all right, forget it. Mom will be like, forget it. Move on to the next thing.
I cannot understand it enough. It's huge. That was my biggest takeaway.
Like to have, he was lucky because I don't think there's a lot of people would have had that. So
I literally looked over and looked at the people that I was watching was like, this might be the greatest reason why. Like look at the huge bunch of like African American guys that come up and look up how their journey's there. How many people's journeys mirror Mike's? You know what I mean? Like having an opportunity to play with a bunch of Hall of Famers in college, having your mom and dad push you into sports, having older brothers and a younger brother that competed with you. Winning a national championship in college, hitting the shot to get there.
And
like
also, I think
story is ridiculous if you think about it.
The good thing was like having parents that both parents were working parents and they had the money to put the kids in sports. Because what happens is right now, if it's just one parent that's working, kids can't play sports because it's expensive to play sports, and parents can't afford to play them for sports.
And I like how they showed his younger picture, him on the baseball team. It's just kind of
him and being along with a whole bunch of other white people at a young age.
I wasn't gonna say it, but like he was the only. There's a lot of racism going on in North Carolina.
I think, there was racism, but I think that also helped him how to navigate with people in the basketball world who are white, because it showed him how they're racist, but how can you navigate around that?
He was phenomenal. You see, like I brought up when his rookie interview, just listen to him hold the interview. There's guys right now who wish they spoke and carried themselves the way that Mike did. Mike was phenomenal, and I can't stress enough, man. Like going to North Carolina college for 3 years, like it helps you out. Yeah. Nowadays, these dudes aren't staying in college for 3 years. I don't know any guy who's a superstar right now in the NBA.
G League. They're going G Leagues now.
No. I don't know a guy in the NBA right now who played more than 3 years in the NBA, who played more than 3 years, who's a superstar right now. All of these guys are like, I think Steph might be the only guy who stayed. He's the only one right now. Everybody else.
Steph only did one. He was at Davidson. That was it.
Who?
I thought it was 2.
No, he played 2.
I'm pretty sure it was just 1.
No, he came back.
Dwayne Wade did 3.
Dwayne Wade did one
more
Marquette.
year.
Steph did at least 2. He did at least 2. His second year wasn't as good. He had the really good year. He played after that and it wasn't as good.
Yeah, Davidson. I remember that Cinderella story in this
But long story short, man, like most of these dudes don't even stay that long. Like Mike matured. Like he was a grown ass man by the time he made it into the NBA. He had a really good dad. He had a really good like college foundation where he won. So I mean, not to keep going on, I feel like that to me, this was huge. I just wanted to pinpoint. I feel like this episode for me was really big, as I felt like
his foundation.
I knew about his mom and dad, but I didn't know about it. Like he really got down to the nitty gritty of how he competed with his siblings.
I knew about his background, his mom and dad's background, and the foundation of the hard work they put in. Because I remember one of my projects in maybe middle school, no, elementary school was to do autobiography. And when it was one time, so like usually when schools like they choose you to do the autobiography, but this was a time where we actually got to choose our own person to do it on. So I chose Michael Jordan. And I remember reading one of the books, and it was just him talking about him in Wilmington, and like I knew about him not making basketball. And that story, his mom just saying that conversation that he had, that I remember that really resonated with me because like when I was watching Michael Jordan, you always thought he was always great. He was born great. Right. He never had to work to be great, or he never had to work hard like us normal people. But that's how I was new. But then after reading that book and reading that verbiage from his mom, just saying, hey, you didn't make it, but how bad do you want it? Right. And if you really want it that bad, are you willing to put in the work and go put in that work for it? To see that at a young age, that helped me out a lot. And to see someone like him, to not just be, because like as athletes, we automatically think athletes are just born great. They just naturally gifted and they just come out of the mom and they can shoot a basketball. That's how we view them as. But to see him to put that work all summer and then to make the team next year, like it just shows you anything's fucking possible.
Also helps to grow 5 inches too, though.
Yeah, that too.
I was about to say that. I'm like, I don't know what Pat's talking about. He went from 5'10" to 6'3". Like sweet Jesus, $1 billion growth.
Hey, there's also a lot of tall people out there not playing basketball. So
is it just the act of playing basketball? Like all that jumping you're doing? Is that
no.
Bro, I play a lot of ball.
There were 2 motherfuckers.
It was just being born back in the day.
It was in this documentary. There's like, they came back after the summer, like
Scotty
10 inches fucking taller. Right.
Guys, we're gonna see you on the next episode, man. It's been a great discussion, Grace. We look forward to seeing you soon.
Later,
boy.
Thanks for watching The Last Dance with the Normies. Check us out on Patreon for early access and uncut content. Special shout out to Aaron, Desiree, Eleanor, Explorin' Dylan, I Eat Pink Tacos, Joe, Jules, Light Yagami, Michael, Nick, Puffy, Quentin, Ricky, Ruby Tiger, Bystander, Tristan, Keyboard Junkie, the NYR Fan, and ZJP. We'll see you all next time.